Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders radio network, heard across the USA. And we are here with my dear friend and amazing individual, Daphne Davis, the CEO of Pinnacle Senior Placements. And Daphne, I'm so glad we're having the conversation today about crossroads, but basically, when do you start thinking it might be time to make a change or get more care for mom or dad? Would you share with me a little bit about, you talked about in your early segment about oftentimes they waited too long. Mm-hmm. How can they not wait too long? What are some signs in the early stages that we might want to start having those conversations?
So I'm going to start with a big, broad scope, and then we'll whittle down to the individual symptoms or signs. Mm-hmm. But if you all think of a three-legged stool, get a three-legged stool in your mind, and one leg represents nutrition, food. Mm-hmm. One leg of that stool represents hydration, water. Mm-hmm. And another leg represents the medication. And those three legs are pretty solid. When they're together, that stool works perfectly. Mm-hmm. Hydration, medication, nutrition. And if you start to see one of those aspects, hydration, nutrition, medication, if one of those falls, those other two legs have more stress on them, and usually they will crumble as well. Mm-hmm. And so then we start usually some kind of sickness or a failure to thrive can happen. So if someone's not drinking their water and they get dehydrated, they lose their appetite, they're not eating anything, they don't have enough protein and carbohydrates to be able to process properly, they might forget their medicines, and now we have a mess. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So if you think about those three things, mom and dad drinking enough water, are they eating properly? And are they taking their medication? Are you finding a medication on the floor that's underneath the dining room table because it just slipped out of their hand when they walked from the kitchen to the dining room?
Right.
So those are the kind of things. So think of that big, broad picture. And now in reality, let's say mom and dad are living in home and you help with supplementing some grocery shopping. Wow. And you're seeing the same foods around, or even the box of saltine crackers that they asked for isn't opened yet. Yeah. Or you bring over a meal or two a week and there's very little taken out of it. Yeah. And you'll say, Mom, you haven't eaten it's your favorite dish. And she'll say, well, I just wasn't hungry. Mm-hmm. That's a sign.
It's a sign.
It's a sign. Everyone needs calories to make their machine, their body work. If it's not fueled, it won't work. And these are good languages to use with your parents. Mom, it's a machine. Your body's a machine, and it needs high octane fuel. I'm bringing it to you. Yeah, you can still have your ice cream and the cookie, but you got to get some protein.
Very true.
That's one way of seeing it. Or as you're visiting, let's say that, they've lived in the same house for 60 years and they know the furniture has been exactly the same way for 60 years. And all of a sudden you're seeing them touching the back of the furniture.
Yeah.
As they're walking. Or they're touching the wall, or they're using their next hand that they're taking a step with to reach for the chair that's in front of them. Furniture walking. It's not a terrible thing to do because your loved one has figured out, how do I keep myself safe? But there's something behind that in terms of maybe a balance issue, maybe lightheadedness, weakness in their muscles. Something's going on. That's a sign. Something that says, that's odd. Why is mom touching the wall as she walks down the hallway?
Yeah. Well, and what you're saying is that I think that happens a lot to all of us in a certain degree. It doesn't mean that you start having this conversation saying, we're going to move you into senior living because you're furniture walking. I think what you're saying is these are early signs that it's ready to start having these conversations of, wow, mom, why don't you check out some physical therapy? might be good for you. Or Dad, are you drinking? You're not drinking enough water. How can we help you do that? And there's a lot of different options out there now. I mean, sparkling waters, flavored waters, all those things that people can get that can hydrate their system. And that is so vitally important.
You bring up really good points. I mean, the same thing is you can put a banister or a railing down the hallway. Doesn't mean that we're making an imminent move, but it does open up the door to having a conversation that says, if you had a fall and things changed, what would you like to have happen?
Yeah.
So you're having emotionally charged conversations before you're in the emotional crisis.
Right. And to think about by doing that, there's an element of, wow, there's a pride that for the senior, that I'm taking care of myself. I'm making adjustments in my own home. If they're having furniture walking, one of the things that I do immediately is pull up those throw rugs that they may have in the kitchen or, so many areas that you don't even think about, right? Yeah. And those are situations that I certainly am aware of that people may not think about, right?
That's right. Or, the rug on top of the rug to protect the rug, down the hallway. It's the throw rug on top of the carpet. And those things, you can totally make adjustments within your own home to prolong the time at home. There's no place like home.
Right.
We've known that for decades.
Yeah. And the thing that's interesting is that there's a misnomer out there that people think if they talk to people like you and me, that we're going to force them into, and that is not what we do. We're here to help people. And I think the thing is that we want them to thrive where they want to be. And if those two things match up, that's wonderful. And we can help make that happen. Right. And so that, I think the early conversations, well, Mom, I saw you grabbing the chair. How are you doing with walking these days? Or paying attention, to different ways in which things are evolving. And of course, as we're aging, those things happen. I find myself doing things, and I'm 68, right? Those are warning signs to me that, I need to pay attention to this.
It could be, I'm going to add 15 minutes to my evening walk. It could mean I'm going to sit up straighter so my back isn't rolled forward. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can do with information that can be preventative.
Yes. And so, Daphne, what you're saying is it's never too early to pick up the phone and call you. So how do we reach you at Pinnacle Senior Placements?
So the easiest way is at 1-855-734 1500, which will call directly to me. I'll answer the phone first, and then Jolene, you'll get Jolene or whoever. But or you can also go to a website, which is Pinnacle Senior Placements with an S at the end, .com. And you can learn all kinds of things there.
Absolutely. And you are nationally connected. So even if you're outside the Seattle area, please call Daphne and she can hook you guys up with whatever you need. And Daphne and we're going to be right back right after this. We at Answers for Elders thank you for listening. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.